notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 27, 2023. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper and posted on public bulletin boards and the township website.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero. Councilman Ambrosino.
Here.
Councilman Minichino.
Here.
Councilwoman Travers.
Here.
Vice President Zapsik.
Here.
President DeYoung.
Here.
Thank you.
Everybody please rise for a flag salute and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Moving on to our first presentation of the night, we have 2 Eagle Scouts, and I would like to ask Councilwoman Travers to come down and do the presentations. We're getting a lot of them lately. Nice, very nice. Would the 2 Scouts like to come on up?
So tonight we are honoring Nick Colombo and Jeremy Oswald. We are recognizing them for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest rank Boy Scout can achieve. It's a very rare achievement, and only roughly 5% of eligible Scouts have ever become an Eagle Scout. Since 1912, there have been about 2.5 million Eagle Scouts out of all the young people who have been in Scouts. Some pretty remarkable Americans who have achieved Eagle Scout include astronaut Neil Armstrong, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, William Hanna of Hanna-Barbera, our Congressman Chris Smith, and Director Steven Spielberg. Others include Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, and Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of NYC of New York, Basketball Hall of Famer, and U.S. Senator Phil Bradley. Achieving Eagle Scout is a years-long process during which the Scout must be fully committed, and they have to earn 21 merit badges, and they must do a project for a community. So at this time, we'd all love to hear about your projects.
My project was to redo the sign up front of the First Baptist Church of Rollton. It is our group's charter organization. I redid the doors, the sign, made sure the lights light up, so the church can get more attention and it doesn't look like it's like it gets more attention and people start showing up.
My project was to plant trees at Allaire. The last couple of years they had a whole bunch of them die and they want to remake the park nice and beautiful. So I planted 4 dogwoods, 2 blue spruce, put fencing around them, and it was right next to the chapel, so now it's really nice there.
Great. So again, and congratulations here. So first we have congratulations.
Parents, you can get on up. Thank you. Very nice, thank you. And my parents actually got married at the Allaire Chapel way back when, so thank you. We are going to be moving on to our consent agenda now.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Resolution 4 1.
Authorize insertion of Chapter 159, NJDCA 2023 Lead Grant Assistance Program.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the insertion of a grant in the amount of $50,400 from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Lead Grant Assistance Program. The grant fund will be used for training building inspectors and code enforcement officials on the state's new lead-based paint inspection program. The grant also covers equipment and tools needed during the inspections. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-2.
Authorize cancellation of outstanding checks, Finance Office.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the cancellation of $641 in installed dated checks.
Thank you. 4-3.
Authorize rebid purchase and delivery of 6 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the rebid for purchase and delivery of 6 newer Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles that are needed for the police department. The rebid is needed after we were unable to locate the vehicles that we need and the required upfit at a reasonable price on state contract. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-4.
Authorize award of contract through Bergen County Cooperative Pricing System EMS Power Cuts.
Council Vice President Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of contract in the amount of $45,155.86 to Stryker Emergency Care, Portage, Michigan, for 2 power cots as needed for the township's EMS. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-5.
Authorize award of contract through Bergen County Cooperative Pricing System Lenovo Desktop Computers.
Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of contract in the amount of $143,258.40 to SHI International from Somerset, New Jersey for 120 Lenovo M70s desktop computers. These computers will be used to replace 100 older models that are being aged out as part of the IT department's 5-year desktop replenishment cycle, as well to fulfill requests for new workstations from various departments. The computers were approved as part of the 2023 capital budget. This purchase is being made through the Bergen County Cooperative Pricing System. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-6.
Authorize award of contract communication headsets.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution approves the award of contract in the amount of $10,930 with Strack Inc. from Yorktown, Virginia, for the purchase and delivery of communication headsets with hearing protection for the Brick Township Police Department Specials Emergency Response Team. This equipment was approved and as part of the 2023 capital budget. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-7.
Authorize award of contract through State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program, purchase and installation of safety surface at Cedar Bridge Manor Park.
Council Vice President Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award in the amount of $66,484.80 with Rubber Recycle from Lakewood, New Jersey, for the purchase and installation of rubber safety surface for the Cedar Bridge Manor Park. Purchase is being made through the State of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing Program. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-8.
Authorize change order number 3, Brick Township Police Department Special Operations Garage.
Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a change order increase in the amount of $18,174.22 in the contract with Gavin General Contracting of Lakewood, New Jersey for the Brick Township Police Department Special Operations Garage. The change order reflects supplemental work, including adding a second circuit for the ply movement system, a system that connects directly to the vehicle tailpipe and transports harmful emissions directly outdoors via a high-pressure blower. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-9.
Authorize shared service agreement with MUA, Laurel Manor Roadway Improvement Project.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a shared services agreement with the Brick Township Municipal Utilities Authority for the Laurel Manor Roadway Improvement Project. The MUA requested that the township provide services for the upgrade of water mains on Freedom Road, Robertson Court, and Lorman Avenue at the same time that the township is resurfacing these roadways. The MUA will bear the cost for design, bidding, award, and contract management, along with the costs for work performed by the township for these services. Thank you.
Thank you. 410.
410A is a cash performance bond release for Block 30, Lot 118, in the amount of $5,500. B is an inspection fund release for Block 380.26, Lot 15, in the amount of $829.12. 10C is an inspection fund release for Block 382.20, Lot 31, in the amount of $129.39. 10D is an inspection fund release for Block 549, Lot 11, in the amount of $324.49. 10E is an inspection fund release for Block 62601, Lot 8, in the amount of $453.53. 10F is an inspection fund release for Block 62601, Lot 10, in the amount of $367.09. 10G is an inspection fund release for Block 670, Lot 4, in the amount of $1,435.17. 10H is an inspection fund release for Block 670, Lot 10.01, in the amount of $317.27. 10J is an inspection fund release for Block 1149, Lot 1, in the amount of $584.47. And 10J is a cash performance bond release for Block 32108, Lot 15. The cash portion is $6,325.20. The performance bond is $56,926.80 and $2,610.71 in the engineering inspection fund. Thank you.
Thank you. 411.
411A, 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 378.38, Lot 3. 11B is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 548.04, Lot 3. 11C is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 902.11, Lot 6. 11D is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 1068.109, Lot 5. 11E is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 1188, Lot 3. 11F is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 1192.08, Lot 116. And 11G is 100% DAV widow or veteran deduction for Block 1210.26, Lot 20.
Thank you. That will end our consent agenda. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second. Open to council. Close council. Open to public for on the resolutions only. Yes. No.
Don't mind me, that's what I'd like to give it out on me. Sam Foster, 108 Cheekwood Drive. Three questions about three items. Consent agenda number 3, purchase and delivery of 6 police cruisers. Now, I know that when dealing with bulk purchases of vehicles specifically, but anything, usually there's a discount, like available, is there, the question I have for you, is there a discount available for purchasing a larger amount rather than 6 at a time, or do you just happen to need 6 vehicles at this time?
We had 6 in the capital budget.
So that's all you really need then? Okay. Second, the communication headsets. As far as this is with regards to, does this mean that when the police go on calls, instead of using their microphones that they have to clip to the labels they have, or is that with the inside?
This is for the special emergency response team. It's for our CERT team.
Okay, so that's, okay. I thought that was something else. All right. And the 8th one is the consent agenda item 8, the Brick Police Special Operations Garage. Is that the garage that I saw that's built back there? So it's already up and running. Do you have vehicles stored there already?
It is still under construction.
Oh, it is? Okay, I saw the walls were up and everything.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask, is there, well, I guess it's kind of a dumb question, but I guess it's only going to be storing vehicles and equipment, not weapons, correct?
It is a emergency response building. I'm not entirely sure.
But the weapons would be in the armory here in the building, right, for safeguarding?
They would be locked up, yes.
Ms. Bergen? Ms. Bergen?
Council President DeYoung is correct. The weapons will remain here.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Nan Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. And I will share with you, since it's not unusual, what my situation health-wise or ability-wise Since January 2020, I have not been able to raise this arm any further than this because there was a rotator cuff tear found that was bigger and more complicated than the one that they had surgically repaired in December. And now, since July 2nd, when I fell, and thank you, I'm going to say special thank you to, I believe the title is EMT Magnetti. I asked him, was that the correct pronunciation, as I lay asking, he asked me questions as I was lying on the ground in St. Dominic's parking lot after having fallen. Turned out, I thought I didn't have any problem. I broke the wrist. So it's going to take a while because it's also a sprain. So now you know the reason why I'm not going to be raising my right arm. And I have berated this many times, but I'm going to do it from now on every time as Mr. Sluka does his problems with what you do. Number one, I'd like you all to tell me what's the meaning of a consent agenda. You're all going to vote on this before any more
This
words.
is your public comments, Ms. Call.
Excuse me.
You
It's
are
my
not-
time for questions to get answered also because
You are
don't
not
hold
allowed
town
to
halls or
poll
open
the
meetings.
council. Please,
It doesn't say questions.
please give your comments.
It doesn't say questions. It
Please
says
give your
comments.
comments.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. So I'll just say my piece till the 5 minutes. You can put your hands over your ears because you're not going to listen. You're not going to answer. This is a disgrace. Bigger disgrace than in D.C. So, what is a consent agenda, I ask you? Perhaps you'll take an ad out at election time and tell me. The connotation of a consent agenda is that you have discussed it to death as we used to before they did consent agendas, and at a caucus meeting, which was followed the following week by the public meeting when you had time to digest all the information that was elicited at the caucus meeting. So a consent agenda means you have discussed it, which is a no-no. You're not supposed to discuss it out of our hearing and even vision. You seem to keep resisting and not putting the address. Now, I was to another municipal meeting in the past few months, and they did the right thing. They gave you your block and lot to put, followed by giving me the address or the name and address, which would be even better. We don't know what you're voting on. You don't know what you're voting on, I believe. You don't give us the backup material. You should be telling us what's written on that backup material. None of what you've said so far is really explanatory to what is in this consent agenda. And nothing for us to be able to say, I don't think you should vote for that, and the reason why. You don't tell us why you're voting for it.
Anybody else? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to floor 12, Bill Resolution Computer 2023.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $17,110,654.99.
Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council, close council, open to public on the computer bill resolutions only. Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 413, Bill Resolution Manual 2023.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,955,208.96.
'Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
Open to council, close council, open to public on the computer bill resolutions only. Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public for questions on the manual bill resolution only. Close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to ordinance on first reading, there is no public hearing on the first reading. 5-1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code in Section 437-7 to update the rates for approved towing operators.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. In September of 2022, Sergeant Joseph Rossi of the Police Department Traffic Safety Bureau was contacted by some of the township's police towers requesting a price modification to this ordinance. The feedback from township towers is that the rates they are required to charge by ordinance are not similar to rates being charged by other jurisdictions. That, coupled with the increased cost that the towers are paying in fuel, supplies, insurance, is resulting in hardships for our police towing contractors. Sergeant Rossi researched the towing rates offered in neighboring municipalities and made a recommendation to change the rates to the Council's Public Safety Committee. The recommendation from the traffic safety is based on a rate inflation from 2016 when the ordinance was last amended to now. The ordinance reflects a 20% increase based on inflation increase from 2016.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to ordinance on second reading, 6-1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 145-6 of the Township Code to extend the storefront revitalization program and the waiver of fees for the construction to promote the renovation of existing vacant commercial structures.
Thank you. This ordinance extends the current vacant storefront program. Since being inactive in 2015, 30 empty storefronts have been filled by business owners looking to get started with a new business. In this proposal, the township is encouraging any new business looking to fill any vacant commercial space under 5,000 square feet that has been vacant for up to 1 year to open business. All township permit fees will be waived to encourage the startup. Typically, these fees are charged and associated with opening a small business. These include business license fees, parking, traffic impact fees, and building and planning review fees. All of these fees and charges fund important services, but during times of economic uncertainty and tough credit markets, they can be enough of a barrier to the market entry that they impede the type of economic growth that we desperately need right now. The proposed ordinance will forgive all of these fees and charges for qualifying small businesses. Entrepreneurs opening up shop in previously vacant storefronts in the township will not be required to pay the usual fees. May I please have a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on this ordinance only. Yes.
I believe even since this ordinance was first introduced, there have been several more small stores and even large stores that have closed. And Brick is not doing well as far as I'm concerned. My favorite go-to place that I spoke of many times, the diner on, the Corner Post Diner on Brick Boulevard and the intersection of 70, 88. On this, I would like to see that the amendment be extended further, and that every time you're going to waive fees, that we see who are the principals involved in the purchase of this particular site, who are the people who are going to run it, and be sure at this point, if we're going to give them those privileges, let them be somebody who's established as a personage in Brick Township and who has been paying taxes, and not somebody who may be in China. In fact, we should have a statute put in that nobody from outside our country gets to buy land or places in businesses in New Jersey at all. That is the way it is in many other countries, such as the land of my forefathers and mothers in Ireland. You have to show that you're doing business before you can open another business.
Okay, yes.
Just so, this is number 6, right? Ordinance on second reading, or you're at the first one?
Second.
Second one? Okay, good. Sam Foster, 1 Chico Drive. I have a question for you. The waiver of fees, how much would someone be, what is the amount, do you have any dollar amount as far as how much?
It
these
depends
people-
on the type of fee. That's in our fee structure.
Variation of, do you know, like a roundabout,
It could be $100, it could be, it depends on the business, if it's a business license, what it is.
okay, and this is for existing vacant commercial structures. All right, reason why I asked that is because I know that I used to patronize certain businesses in town, and they said that the reason why they shut down is not because of fees or anything, preventing them from expanding, for example, was because of taxes in town. This is going back all the way back to 1980s, so it's at 40, oh my God, I don't want to remember back that far. But taxes are a big thing that really affects how people go out. It affects the closure of business. I mean, we've had 2 businesses in, I'm not going to name names, but that they have shut down and they've moved to other towns. And the thing is the taxes, and the fees are nice, but it's really, in my opinion, insignificant when a township is paying, when a business is paying thousands of dollars a year in taxes. And that's the number that I get from certain areas. Every area is different, I know. But there are certain restaurants I go out and eat a lot. And I have known that there are one restaurant in particular that can't keep a restaurant in there because they say that their taxes are so high that it affects their ability to remain in business. They are undercut by competitors because they would have to raise their prices on the menu so high, someone going to go to a restaurant across the street or down the road and have a meal, and they would not have to, they just can't compete with them. So I would hope that this administration would concentrate more on long-term tax relief for people. And because the fees, like I said, really, again, I'm speaking from experience in talking to people. This is, I hear you're closing, and they tell me why. And it's just, that's really the big thing here. I mean, the fees you're talking about for construction to promote the renovation of existing commercial structures, but you should really be more proactive, and I feel you'd be more proactive in preventing businesses from going out of business to begin with. That's just my opinion. And Ocean County Freeholders, now commissioners, they have discussed this themselves, and they have some good ideas. And I suggest that this administration sit down and talk with them because they have some very good ideas about preventing businesses from going out of business and having that empty storefront there.
And that is why the last 10 years we have kept our tax rate pretty stable, and this year we have a 0% municipal tax increase.
I just got into an argument on Facebook with someone about that, and like I said,
And we are doing all
I'm
that
just
we
replying
can.
to you. Got a minute 42. I just want to reply. We've had, with this year, 13 years of Democratic control of the township, 9 tax increases, 2 tax cuts, 2 neutral budgets. That's the situation. I mean, I understand you. I know why you pushed as hard as you could to get a tax cut this year, because John Ducey isn't mayor anymore, so you don't have the popularity to carry the ticket. But let's just be frank here. We're dealing with 13 years of Democratic control, 2 tax cuts, including this year, 2 neutral budgets, 9 tax increases. And that's what's devastating the businesses, and that's why we have so many empty storefronts. I know, I speak with the people. I go there. Gas
And it's
stations, you know,
also
I understand,
the
I
most
understand
stable
why,
this town
I understand,
has been
wait,
in the last
I understand,
40, 50 years.
I
If
understand
you
why
look
you're.
at 10-year
Wait.
10-year
Excuse me. I have 48 seconds, please.
Okay.
I appreciate you didn't interrupt me. You can say this during council comments, but like I said, you should concentrate on long-term tax relief for citizens, which is what we've been promised by politicians from federal right down to local. And again, the issue is, you're in charge of the town. I know this is an election year. I know you put out all the stops to get a tax cut this year, because I heard what about it. And the fact remains, 9 out of 13 years, we've had tax increases. And you got to do better. Because if you don't, doesn't matter how much you reduce the, or eliminate waiver of fees for construction to promote. If the taxes are high, no one's going to want to come in here and renovate an empty building, because they're going to have to deal with the tax situation in town, which caused the initial empty building to occur. Now, my time is up, so I'm not going to say it, so that's it. If you want to say anything during council comments, it's fine.
Anybody else? Raise your hand. Thank you.
Jim Palmisano, Winding River Road in Brick. I just want to make a couple of comments with regard to number 6. It's great that you're going to attempt to promote the vacant structures. But what about the structures that are already there? You do not hold the owners of the building. You do not hold the companies or the corporations that are there. You do not hold them accountable to maintain that property. I go by Boston Market. Went by Herbertsville Deli. Every major road has buildings that are shut down. The grass isn't cut. The building windows are broken. It looks disgusting. So here on one end, you want to give people a free ride to come into town and take over a vacant building. But yet you have a planning board that is democratically controlled. You have a board of adjustment that's democratically controlled, and just willy-nilly just grant everybody build. Everything's overcrowded. Now we have the dome, the sports dome, or deflate dome, whatever you want to call it. It was written in the newspaper today that they want to change their application for a 3rd time. I would request that each of you call the board members of the planning board. That needs to come through as a brand new application now. Now they keep changing it. Now they want a restaurant there, which is going to impact traffic on one of the most congested parts of county roads in the state roads in New Jersey, between Route 88 and Chambers Bridge Road. Traffic comes to a standstill there, and yet we're going to let them willy-nilly just continue to build or build out whatever they want to do. Just rubber stamp everything that comes through.
Do you have any comments on the actual ordinance, sir?
Yeah, I want to know what you're doing to hold the feet to the fire of the companies and the owners of these companies that have vacated the buildings. Why don't we have bonds issued when they put up a brand new building, so that if and when they leave the building prematurely, that the building's maintained, that the town can hold on to funds.
Our code enforcement office takes complaints all the time, sir. You can always just call us
Well, then they need to do a
up.
better job. Or maybe you need to hire
Just-
additional people to have the job done.
You can always
Because
call us.
it's not being done, and the town looks disgusting, and it's blight on this town. It blemishes, which reduces our tax, the value of our homes. And the other question is, New Jersey, Brick has the most waterfront homes in the state of New Jersey. They're right here in Brick. Well, pre-Sandy, those homes some of them were very small. They had a very low tax rate. Post-Sandy, a lot of those waterfront homes are now $1 million, $2 million homes, and the tax rate went from $6,000, $7,000 a year to $30,000 a year in some cases, and more. Where is all the money, the additional income that's come in since Hurricane Sandy?
We
I'd
have
like
not
to
made
know.
up that. We have not made up the difference before Sandy to now.
You haven't made up the difference. That's a fact. So you're telling me pre-Sandy tax income was higher than what it is today. Is that what this board is telling me, the council? Really? well, maybe when we get some new council members, we'll have a forensic audit, we'll see where the money is. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes.
Charlie Bacon, 366 Rancocas Drive. Good evening, council and administration. I have a couple questions about the ordinance. I think it's safe to say we all support any initiative we can put in front to encourage businesses. And just looking over the ordinance that's up in front of you tonight for a second reading and approval, in the one section it says that the mayor and the council have determined that the waiver of fees have successfully encouraged property owners. So that implies that you have some process in place. What is that process?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Is the process, how do we advise people of this ordinance, or what is the process if they want to take advantage of the ordinance?
No, you're extending the ordinance. It actually expired at the end of December 22. So you've determined that it's encourage people to come into this town, which means if you determine that, you must be running a metric since this ordinance has been on and off for 8+ years. So what I'm asking is, what is the criteria to determine whether this is the best approach to waive fees that impact taxpayers? That's the question I'm asking.
So the volume of folks or businesses that have opened as a result of this is, as the council president mentioned, there's 30 businesses that have taken advantage of this.
30 businesses over the last 8 years.
Correct.
So the council, the mayor's not here tonight. You feel this is a good ordinance?
We wouldn't have it on the agenda if we did not think so, and it would not have been in place since 2015. It's actually the first in the state.
And I'm going to ask, why did you let it expire in December of 22 as opposed to bringing it up for an extension in November or December last year?
It was overlooked, and when we realized it had expired, we immediately brought it to the council.
That doesn't even make sense.
Okay.
This thing's been in place for 8 years. You didn't even have this incentive in place in 21. So I find it hard to believe that you have a specific ordinance that states when it expires, and yet you overlooked it, and you just got done telling everybody. It's also been reported in the press how good this ordinance is. So that's one thing that's kind of curious. What is the total amount of fees that have been waived? Don't know?
I don't have it with me now.
I
Is
believe
it over 50,000 over the last 8 years, 100,000?
over 50,000.
Over 50, thank you. So some of my comments, because I'm a business owner, I know many other business owners. So we always look for ways to help us, especially in times like now. And I think for the most part, business owners I've spoke to don't look at fees to come into a town as being germane. They look at that as a cost of business. When I was looking for different locations for my business, I looked in a variety of towns. I'm not even sure what my construction costs are going to be. I looked at a place in Point Beach versus Brick or Point Borough. There's all sorts of criteria that's going to impact the bill. So I'm not really sure how a business owner is going to look at that as an incentive to come into town. I think a more important thing to business owners, a higher priority to them, is how quickly they can get the business open. And a lot of that's impacted by how fast you get through the building departments, what kind of delays are there.
Do you have any questions about the actual ordinance or comments about the actual ordinance?
I'm commenting about it. And so I think there's other things that should be looked at. I'm not sure what metrics you're running. This ordinance has been in place for 8 years. I assume you have some level of metrics on how long it takes to get through the building department what's the satisfaction level of that, and other things like that. So those are just my general comments. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Anybody else on this ordinance? Seeing none, close public roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zepsic.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to public comment, please.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Very good. Who's up first?
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I'll read my letter to Mayor Crate dated August 4th. Council President DeYoung, all Brick councilmen, councilwomen, the residents and workers of Brick and Ocean County. 14 to 20 feet high pollution, noise, and safety walls along the side of the Garden State Parkway are needed in Evergreen Woods, Primrose Gardens, Greenbrier, Lanes Middle School area, Birchwood, Briar Mills, Cherrywood, Brick High School area, Town Hall, and other areas in Brick. People are dying slowly and painfully under the presence of government inaction. The silent killer of airborne toxins created on the Garden State Parkway by the malicious decisions of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commissioners have been harming our citizens. Large trees and thick brush that were destroyed by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority on the Garden State Parkway should be replanted for the health of all Brick Township and Ocean County residents. The ill effects of those tiny particulates being sent through the air to our lungs from the Garden State Parkway will cause bedridden lives and premature deaths for many of our citizens, and probably has been doing so for the last 10 years. Air pollution is a mixture of pollutants, including particulate matter, chemical substance, and biological materials. There's a growing awareness of the adverse effects on health of air pollution following both acute and chronic exposure with rapidly expanding body of evidence linking air pollution with increased risk of respiratory and cardiovascular disease. Elderly, pregnant women, infants, and people with prior disease appear especially susceptible to the effects of the ambient air pollution. There were many magazine articles I read before this council, but this one here is an abstract from the National Library of Medicine article just a few years ago. So let me further talk about the air pollution effects on all things. It's harmful to our health and impacts the environment by reducing visibility and blocking sunlight, causing acid rain, harming our forests, wildlife, and agriculture. Greenhouse gas pollution, the cause of climate change, affects the entire planet. According to WHO, an estimated 7 million people die each year from air pollution. Ground level ozone causes muscle and lungs to contract, making it difficult to breathe. Exposure to high ozone levels can cause sore throat, coughing, lung inflammation, and permanent lung damage. Symptoms from short-term exposure typically resolve quickly, but long-term exposure is linked to serious illness and disease in multiple body systems. Children and elderly and the people with ongoing illness are more vulnerable, as mentioned before. Urban populations are also at greater risk due to high concentrations in the cities. And you're saying, well, Brick is really not a big city, but because of the Garden State Parkway running through the middle of it, it might as well be. There's 300, according to the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, 300,000 vehicles run through Brick every day. Short-term exposure to air pollution can cause coughing, wheezing, difficult breathing, irritation to eyes, nose, and throat, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. Long-term exposure to air pollution can cause respiratory disease like asthma and emphysema, cardiovascular damage, harm to liver, spleen, and blood, nervous system damage, cancers, birth defects, and deaths. This does not come from my knowledge of how the New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commissioners are harming our residents, but comes directly from the Center of Science Education. To save the people of Evergreen Woods, Greenbrier, Brick High School, Town Hall, Birchwood, and other areas, action needs to be taken in the news and in the courts. It is well past the days when we can lie to ourselves and believe the politicians and their benefactors are really good people. So it is time for us at the local government, we need to act. Save a life today. Thank you for your time. I yield back 40 seconds.
Ann Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. Several interesting statements were said, particularly the one by the chairlady, that you wouldn't have put it on the agenda if you didn't think it was good. The agenda is not for only things you believe in. The agenda is to find out from the smartest people in the room, collectively, we, the people, what we need, want, or desire. And your decision is nothing. It's our decision. If you read the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey, latest being done on September 17th, I believe it was 1946. But look back at the two previous generations of the Constitution of New Jersey, and you see if you find the words that you're supposed to decide ahead of time what goes on the agenda, and only that which you think is good. Your opinion matters not to us. And there was a big to-do, and Mr. Sluker did work very hard about the destruction done to the parkway, to the premises around the parkway changes. The last change to the parkway was one that we really had never accepted. That severe right turn as you come off of Lanes Mill Road to turn on to Burnt Tavern Road is absolutely dangerous and shouldn't be like that. But that wasn't supposed to remain elevated the way it was. But the council then hid a lot of the things from us that we should have discussed. By the way, it was Mayor Scarpelli that used to have the caucus meeting, and the next week, the public meeting. At the caucus meeting, we would frequently go till 10 or 11 o'clock at night because Mayor Scarpelli allowed us to discuss everything that was going to be on the agenda the following week in depth and would listen to us. There's almost nobody here. Who's benefiting from this? How many people do you think watch it on video, on television? Not very many people have the time for it or know what the heck is going on here. Do you ever take seriously the oath of office that you were sworn in on? You weren't sworn in to do your own thing and what you wanted to do. And I might mention that from when I first started attending these meetings in 2001 till today, it has changed completely. And you get paid a hefty salary. You get paid health benefits and other pension benefits probably under certain circumstances. But you tell me and the rest of the people that that's private. No, your medical condition is private, but not what the benefit you're getting on medical benefits. And I can tell you, you're getting far more than many of the young people I know. And just before it runs out, Bed Bath & Beyond is basically closed. Christmas Tree Shop is a pending closure, I think, in a few days. I went in and it hardly had anything last week to begin with, so it probably is gone, the few knickknacks that they have left. And those are the businesses that probably are paying more taxes to Brick than a small little mom and pop shop, and that's what you're trying to claim that you're doing for the small mom and pop shop. But how many of them have gone out of business because it is too expensive? You never kept the taxes down. There might have been taxes kept down in one term of a person that served one term and then he's gone. So You people do not show. We don't have the right to question you on what your credentials are. The votes in Brick are definitely corrupt and decided ahead of time, because when you run for office, when do we get a chance to ask you serious questions about your attitudes and then come back to you after the election and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do walkable streets, you didn't do anything that you campaigned on. It is time to change our entire government situation.
Anybody else?
Shell Spector, Evergreen Woods. A couple of things. We were asking the council to pass a resolution supporting the bill that was passed, S 2674, Hulseville's bill for cracking down on noisy illegal mufflers and exhaust systems, because I guess it's one of the many reasons that the parkway is unlivable and that our homes are actually the sound barrier, and we can't get to sleep until way after midnight, which is very ridiculous. It's S 2674, the bill from Hulseville. The other thing is Evergreen Woods. Again, we would like to invite anybody in the council to come visit us to hear how much worse the noise has gotten. Not being able to get to sleep until like way after midnight is absurd. It's ruining our health. And we haven't gotten away after all these years, even though we've been forgotten by all of you. And I can't see voting for any of you in November. I mean, I've always been a staunch Democrat, but, you know, whoever is offering, whoever can actually do something for them, that's who I'm going to be voting for. And I give over the rest of my time. Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, close public. What, is there someone? Oh, sorry. Gotta be quick.
George Goyle, 10 Coolidge. I haven't been here in a while, but I know, Heather, you had been involved with the Buy and Brick program. And now that you're council president, I obviously realize you have a lot on your plate. I went to see Gary Blaine. He said that they raised the fees on that. To him, that's why he got out of it. And I sort of got involved. My wife broke a collarbone. I've been her nurse. But I'd like to get involved, but I don't know the details of it. So at some point, maybe I can, if I can help. I've been in this town, and I think this is a great idea. It's just a matter of the numbers and getting them to, you know, obviously they have a patent on this thing, and we have to get them to agree to something to get this thing going.
I'll speak with the owners who I spoke with when they first started.
I haven't been.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Berg.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cunningham, I'm sorry. I'm writing my notes down for the Buy and Brick.
Response. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. Mrs. Murphy? Councilman Evans?
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Ambrosino?
There's a lot of words thrown around this evening. Personally, I'm very proud of the town in which I live. I'm proud to be from Brick. I'm proud of Brick. I'd like that to be on the record. Thank you.
Councilman Minichia?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Sorry, still writing my notes. Councilwoman Travers?
I just wanted to once again congratulate Nick Colombo and Jeremy Oswald on their Eagle Scout achievement. Thank you.
Council Vice President Sims?
Thank you, Council President. So for many years since I've been up here, you frequently hear me make announcements about the Brick Garden Club, about their ongoing meetings, about their events around town, such as the Secret Gardens of Brick Tour and Tea. those memos always came to me from a man named Dan Lapola. And Dan and his wife Mary were very, very important, longtime members of the Garden Club. And Dan was the chair of their publicity. So he would always make sure to send me those announcements and ask if I would please make them during council comments. I received the unfortunate news that Dan passed away on July 29th. So I just wanted to take a moment to remember him and thank him and for his service, and ask you all to please remember Dan and his wife Mary in your thoughts and prayers. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one announcement this evening. On August 25th, Seniors is hosting a brunch and a movie at 10:30. And you need to call Seniors to register. It's 732-920-8686. I'm not certain what movie. I think they were still kicking it around when I last spoke with them. But I do encourage, if you want to go on August 25th, brunch and a movie. And with that, I have nothing else. Can I please have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.